get a brew. I've got a green tea. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I thought that I would do or attempt some kind of like agony aunt series, right? Because I feel like I'm really good at giving advice. I'm a Cancer sun, Cancer moon, empath, and I am a big sister, like literally and in general with my friends. So I am someone who really loves long form content, and if I'm cooking, getting ready, commuting, stuff like that, I love to just like have a vlog on in the background, or like someone chatting, like, or get ready with me and stuff like that. And I'm not even watching it half the time. I just like to just have someone just chatting, you know, sharing their wisdom and their thoughts and feelings. It's just, I don't know, it's just nice to listen to. So I thought I would try it myself. And so I asked for some questions, and I'm just gonna give my 2 pence on it. Okay, Tuts. Okay, Tuts. Yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. The first one is, what was the biggest learning experience you had throughout your dating life? And I think that's a really, really good question. I always feel I never want to come across as patronizing or condescending if I'm talking about dating or relationship advice, because I know as someone who is in a happy and healthy marriage, I never want it to come across like, do you know what I mean? Like cringe, or like, well, you know, take it from me, it's someone who's like really thriving at that. Nah, I think the biggest thing I learned was when I was 19 years old, so this is like nearly 10 years ago. I was dating someone for a couple of weeks, and I didn't know where we stood. Like, we were like hanging out a lot, seeing each other like a couple of times a week, which when you're like 19 and thriving and just living your life, that's quite a lot. Like for me, I was like seeing each other loads, like twice a week. I was sat down with my mum one night and I was like, I just don't know where we stand. Like, I'd met his mum and his sister and they really like me, but then we never talk about what we are. And when I was 19, as confident as I was in myself, I didn't really think much of myself. It took a while for me to realise my worth as a person. I think when you grow up pretty poor in quite a middle class area, it kind of can sometimes drain your self-worth. Because where I'm from, in Warwickshire, it's full of people like judging you on how many bedrooms you've got in your house and stuff like that. It's so embarrassing. I'm even embarrassed of the accent I have, because people assume I'm like that, and it sucks. But yeah, because my worth was quite low, I remember saying to my mum, like, I don't know where we stand. I don't know if he wants it to be a relationship, because I don't know if I want that, but I don't know, like, if we're exclusive, or is he seeing other girls? Like, because even if I'm just dating someone casually, I won't be seeing anyone else. I just didn't know where I stood. I was like, sat there like nearly 10 years ago, I was a lot different. I was like, I just don't know, like, what's going on? And he's so hot, and I'm like, he's the hottest guy I've ever dated. My mum just simply said, Elle, life is too short to play it cool. And that was like the golden rule to me. I was like, no, life is too short to play it cool. Because she was like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? You ask him, what are we exclusive or whatever, and he says no, then you can be like, okay, see ya. Or he says, yeah, we're exclusive, and then you can be like, okay, cool, and carry on. Like, by not knowing where you stand, or playing it cool, or playing some sort of game, what? You're just wasting time. So I think for me, the biggest lesson I learned was when my mum said, look, life's too short to play it cool. And since then, I've never played it cool. I've gone in full whack straight away. I've said exactly what I want from the other person, and if they want to do that, fine. If not, then see ya. And I think that's why I'm now married to a Scorpio, because he's absolutely obsessed with me, and I'm like, you should be obsessed with me. But yeah, that's the biggest lesson. I know a lot of people kind of like the chase, or not knowing, or that kind of like, ooh, but at the end of the day, I think you're just wasting energy, and I think that energy could be placed elsewhere, like on yourself and your own mental well-being, or putting energy into friendships or whatever. Yeah, life is too short to play it cool, and everything is rooted in honesty and communication. So if you're not upfront about what you want, you're gonna hurt someone in the end, either yourself or the other person. So life's too short to play it cool. It happened with Faisal, my husband. I had in the back of my head like don't play it cool, life's too short to play it cool. And we didn't know like what was going on, because he's such a respectful man. I was kind of confused. I was like, oh, you're not trying anything? I was like, does he even like me? Like, what's going on? He's just like really nice, and he's not like trying anything. So I know, tits. So I'd love to like share the story about how we met because I think it's so funny. But basically, one night, the Life's Too Short to Play It Cool was like playing in my head, and I was leaving really early in the morning, and I didn't know when I was going to see him again because this was 2020 and we lived in different countries, and I mean Wales and England, but like it's not that dramatic. But I was like, oh my god, when am I going to see him again? Blah 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 blah. So I sat there and I was like, just gonna do it, just gonna do it. So I turned around and just kissed him, and now we're married with an orange boy. And if I was playing it cool, like, yeah, no, I'm gonna wait for him to make the first move, like nothing may have happened that night. He did say he would have kissed me if I hadn't have kissed him, but I still don't know that. The best thing I've ever done in my life, in my dating life, is not play it cool. Sorry, I feel like I didn't explain myself right when I asked for like agony aunt questions. Because this one is, what is your opinion on the corn industry and she workers as a whole? Which could be advice, I suppose, if the person asking it is considering getting into something. My opinion is deeply rooted in what is consent. If you're logging onto a website and you're not paying for anything and you're watching something, you don't know if that's consent. Yeah, you don't know if the people involved in that video want to do that or have consented to do that. And I think morally, your compass should be ringing alarm bells in your head. I feel like that's such a dodgy area. I don't think you'd want to risk that. And also the corn industry, as we all know, portrays unrealistic expectations and standards, and I think it makes all genders feel that they should perform in a certain way or look a certain way or act a certain way, when real life just is not like that. But on the other hand, people, she workers, if they are creating content that they consent to and they're putting that on a platform and people are paying for that, then why not? Because most of the time it's not even as explicit as people think it is. I have respect for people that actually pay for someone's content, because you're paying for something that you know the creator has consented to. They're in charge, they're making it themselves, they're putting it out themselves. And that creator is protected, because if you're paying for these websites, like OF, you have to confirm your identity to even set up an account and purchase. So you all know everything, like everything is tracked, you are tracked. So everyone is kind of protected in that sense. Yeah, I just have more respect for the people that actually pay for content, because you can't really feel guilty about that. But she workers, my opinion on them is, with the she workers themselves, as long as they are happy and they feel safe and they're comfortable, all power to them. You do you, and at the end of the day, it's just completely down to the individual, and I really don't think we should judge others for what they do. Life is too short to spend your life having so many opinions on everything. And there's so many opinions, it's just like, it's like, I don't like Twitter, but sometimes I find work from there. It's just opinions all the time. Everyone has an opinion on everything. I think, oh my gosh, chill out. Just have a sip of my brew. I've been drinking green tea for about 15 years. I still don't like it. I drink it for the health benefits. Okay, next question. Advice on meaning of life. Oh, lovely question. As you get older, you're constantly realizing what it means for you in that moment. I don't think there's one thing. So for me, when I was younger, I thought the meaning of life was about how much I would go on to achieve, how much I would do, how much I would consume, and all that stuff. And I don't necessarily think that's right. I think it is for a lot of people, but I realized a year ago that I'd spent so many years living in my masculine energy. For instance, I am very much a woman and very feminine, but I was doing too much, I was working too much, I very much was in that toxic side of like, boss bitch, and I kept getting burnt out and wondering why, and then realized, oh, it's because I'm not actually meant to do that much. But so for me, like I've said before, I grew up very working class, and I'm a creative from a very working class background, and I don't have a northern accent, so as an actor I'm just immediately like dismissed as some like privileged rich kid, which is not the case. I feel like I had to work twice as hard even though I'm white, so I automatically have so much privilege. but I wasn't seen as an actor that needed a bit of help because I don't sound northern, and that's just that. And I think the meaning of life has changed for me because I used to be so set on achieving a certain thing in my career, achieving so much in my life, and having all this money and doing all this stuff. And I've realised now, I've taken a step back and thought, oh, that's so embarrassing. Like, I thought the meaning of life was like to achieve as much as possible and do as much as possible, and that's so stressful. We in this Western world are surrounded by so much stress and cortisol, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like if you go on holiday to Greece, right, which is still not very far away from the UK, they will look at you like, slow down. Why are you so fast? Why are you so quick? I remember one of the first times I ever went to Greece, and I was like taking the plates and like giving them to the waiter, and the waiter was like, that's not your job, like chill out, you're on holiday. And that's when I started to think, oh, life really isn't about being this busy. I think life is actually about having fun and enjoying it and being happy, because if you don't have that, it's a lot harder. And before you say anything, I know you've got to work, I know you've got to pay bills, like don't give me that corporate embarrassing crap. I'm aware you have to pay bills, you have to do all that, whatever, but I have slowed down so much in the past year, and I've realised that taking your foot off the gas, just letting things be, letting things go, letting things grow is a far more enjoyable way of living life. And I have dreams, I have aspirations, but the older I get, the meaning of life for me is not about how much I get done, it's about how much I enjoy what I'm doing. And I think that people put far too much pressure on themselves to do rather than just be. And I know that sounds really like hippie chakras, crystals, but it's true. I am that cringy astrology crystals person, but I'm really happy with my green tea that I can't stand. Look, it's good for you. It's good for you. I think the meaning of life is a lot of the time to actually just take the meaning out of things and just be present, just enjoy. The coolest thing I've learned as an actor is to just be present and enjoy that moment and live in that moment. And I think it's really hard to do, but I think too many people, especially in the modern world, in the Western world in particular, we're so focused on what's ahead and where we're going that we never really stop and think, oh, well, what's going on right now, you know? And the last thing I'll say on that is the meaning of life is to take the meaning away from everyone else. Living your life for you and doing what you want to do. And the happiest people I know are the happiest people that say no to a lot of things that they don't want to do. The amount of like herbal teas I drink for the health benefits, I do feel a bit when I have my herbal teas, I do feel like healthy, you know, like smug at myself, like, yeah, I'm having my herbal tea. Okay, I feel like I've been rambling on for so long now. Advice on getting anywhere with the NHS. I too have really bad periods. Whew, okay, wow, okay, sorry, just get settled into this. First things first, I would keep a paper trail, is that the right term? So keep a document and a backlog of everything. So personally for me, I try not to do things on the phone, not because I'm close to Gen Z, it's just, I don't know about everyone's GP surgeries, but for mine, I can do an e-consult form. So it's where you basically submit a form that goes back to your doctor and then they reply to it. I would rather do that than a phone call because I don't always remember to record my phone calls or whatever, and so I personally submit forms online and then I email a copy of the answers to myself. So I, in my emails, have a log of every time I've got in touch with my GP, just even if it's just for peace of mind. But having an absolute record of things is paramount, even to the point where I've kept receipts from the Ubers I've taken to hospitals and the GP surgery and stuff, just to have a backlog of everything, just so when you have to fight your corner, because you have to fight, you won't just be given help, especially if you are suffering with like any kind of women's health issue, or if you're someone that has a womb, like you you won't just be given help, like you won't. So having a big document and proof of everything, then at least when you go in, you can be like, look. Like, I think at one time I went to A&E and I had my laptop with me with the documents on there, just be like, will you help me please? The second piece of advice, or if you drive, like, try and keep receipts of every time. I mean, there'll be a record of every time you've gone to hospital, just but for your own like peace of mind. If it's not on your like NHS app record or whatever, if you've got screenshots of, like, go on Google Maps when you're at the hospital and screenshot the blue dot where you are. It's just so you will have a screenshot of that day and just save it in a folder on your phone or something. Keep a record of everything. If you have the energy or you feel comfortable in front of your camera, video yourself in various points, take photos of how you look, all this kind of stuff, having a video log, even if it's just for your own peace of mind, like I said, and you're not even showing anyone. Just having as much evidence as possible will make you feel more confident going into a situation, because I know going into the doctors or a hospital, whatever, can be a really daunting place, and I know it's quite traumatic for a lot of people. It's really uncomfortable for a lot of people, so the more that you can back yourself is paramount, especially if you're fighting this battle alone. Which leads me on to my second bit of advice, is if you can have help, please. I know that's not the option for everyone. I am extremely lucky in the sense that I am married to someone who will fight my corner for me when I need him 24/7, even the other side of the world. Because when you're going through something, it's often really hard to fight for yourself, because it's so draining, especially if it's periods, because it's not, if you have awful periods, it's not just, and you think something's wrong, it's not just that week. It's the week before, it's the week after. I know for me, I only actually have maybe 1 week in the whole month when I feel fine. Like, I'm due on in 2.5 weeks and I'm already starting to get symptoms. Oh God, I hate it. Yeah, if you have a partner, a friend, a relative, even a work colleague, someone that you can rely on to help you if you need it. Like I said, I know that's not the option for everyone, but it definitely has helped me, because there are so many times when I have been literally on the floor crying and screaming my eyes out. Crying and screaming on the floor. And I've been in no fit state to be on the phone to speak to someone, so Faisal's had to literally speak to a doctor or 111 for me. The other thing I would say is be prepared for the frustration. Be prepared for it to be exhausting. You will have to really prioritize your health and well-being. You will have to make changes to your lifestyle and your diet. Your social life might become almost non-existent if you're really struggling and you want something to be done about it. I know that's the same for me. I'm someone who, I think I'm very healthy, but even I've made changes to my diet and the things I'm consuming. Yes, get someone to fight your corner. Doing your own research and not dismissing holistic therapies. So in this world we live in, everything's medicated. It's just, any problem you have, take this tablet, take this medication, what did we do hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago? What do people do in countries that don't have access to things? Like, I really do think I've seen a lot of benefits for myself from my period cramps, because they are severe. They've been lessened by eating loads of cabbage. I didn't know that until I started googling tips to help with period pain, fibroid pain, endometriosis pain, stuff like that. I've only been diagnosed with fibroids, by the way, but cabbage has been a massive help. So don't dismiss holistic things. Teas, TikTok and YouTube are really good resources. If anyone wants me to do a full video on the stuff I've learned and researched, I would do that. That's absolutely no problem. I'm not gonna keep it to myself, because I'm fully aware of how it's just not taken seriously. I hate it. I hate it here. I hate it here. Don't dismiss holistic therapies. It might not be the answer, but people have literally shrunken, their fibroids have disappeared by using castor oil packs and having apple cider vinegar and stuff. Honestly, it's wild what holistic things can do. So don't dismiss that. Another tip is, if you're battling with your periods and you consume dairy, stop having dairy. Just stop having dairy. Google it, research it. A lot of the time with period issues, it's too much estrogen, and then if you're having dairy, which is estrogen, and then the extra estrogen they pump in the cows to deliver the milk, you are effing it up for yourself. My family, members of my family who suffer with period pains, who aren't vegan, have either did veganuary or consumed a lot less dairy, and their period pains were just basically not there. Just try it. Another thing is be prepared that you might just have to keep going to A&E. I do not obviously want to put pressure on the NHS or the people that work for the NHS. I'm well aware, so this is not me slagging off nurses or whatever, but I have been gaslit so much by nurses and GP staff and GPs themselves and stuff. Like, one GP I saw last year was like, well, you don't have fibroids, I'm not going to send you for a scan. The issue with my periods is fibroids. And she just totally did. She's like, I'm not going to send you for a scan. You're what? Anyway, be prepared to just keep going. The only way that Faisal and I got anywhere with my periods is by continuously going to A&E, calling 111, going to A&E, calling 111, going to A&E, speaking to them. My GP in the end could not get hold of anyone at the women's hospital to give me my results, that even my GP was like, the only option I can give you is to just go to A&E and just keep going to A&E. So that's what I did, and that's how I got anywhere. It's just I kept going to A&E and demanding help and having someone to fight my corner. Last time I went to A&E, I wasn't on my period. I'd just come off. So you know when you come off your period and you have that like, ooh, spring of energy, like, well, I'm the sexiest person alive, I'm amazing. I was like that, and I really think that it helped. Whereas if I go on my period, I can't really walk or do anything, so it didn't help. Actually going off my period, I just turned to put, hi, so I've come to A&E today because no one's helping me and I need some answers now. And I was that blunt, and you kind of have to be. I'm not saying be horrible, but the only way I got anywhere on my journey with my periods is I just kept going to A&E. It's easier if it's a women's hospital, because I was just literally in the gynecology A&E department. However, if you don't have access to a women's hospital, then I am sorry, but just keep going to A&E. It sucks, but no one helps us, do they? I think I'm gonna leave it there. I feel like I've been talking for ages and I don't want people to get bored. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, let me know. If you have any more topics you want me to discuss, let me know. I enjoyed this. I'd like to do it with other people so we can bounce off each other and just give sisterly advice. But yeah, drink water, be kind, stay safe, lots of love, and I'll hopefully see you in another video.